Hey Muse Makers, today we're going to be creating a decorative sleigh painting. I am working with these paint colors right here: black, white, yellow, green, red, and blue. I also have some mixing plates. I have an 8x10 canvas panel, paper towels, a water vessel, and 3 types of brushes. I have a big brush, a medium brush, and a small brush. So the first thing we're going to do is paint in our background. We're going to be mixing up a background sky blue. With my big brush, I'm going to be grabbing a half a scoop of white and then a full scoop of my blue, mixing those up. Next, I'm going to divide how much of my space is going to be painted with this blue and how much is going to be the snow. I would say maybe like 2/3 is going to be sky. Then you can go ahead and fill that all in. Next, I'm going to make the edges of my painting a little bit darker by just taking some straight blue paint and working some in the corners. Then we're going to take our small brush in white paint and we're going to be making little tiny swirls all over our sky. So I'm just going to start in the center, swirl outwards. And you want it to blend in with your background a little bit. You can make some smaller than others, some bigger. We're going to put them all over. Next, we're going to be painting in some snow. This is going to be a very, very, very light blue, almost white. So just adding a whole bunch of white to this sky blue I have. Filling this all up with the white, or I should say just like ultra baby blue. And making the top edge a little rugged, a little wobbly. We got some lumps and bumps in our snow. Then I'm going to be taking my small brush in my sky blue paint. I'm just going to be throwing a couple wiggles in. A whole bunch of wiggles. I'm going to focus a lot of wiggles here in the center because this is going to be the shadowing for my sleigh. All right, our background is complete. We're going to give ourselves about 10-15 minutes to let our paintings dry. In the meantime, let me show you around our studio. Once we have our background nice and dry, we're going to be painting in our sled. I'm going to be using my small brush in some yellow paint just to get the drawing of it first before we add any of the colors. So here in my sky, in the lower part of my sky, I'm going to be drawing a nice little hill that's going to start over here on the left and come up a little bit, down, and back up. I think I want my hill to be actually a little bit more dramatic. Then I'm going to have the side of my sleigh come down and in, and sort of curve and be flat along the bottom. Then I want to make it 3D. So over here on the left side, I want to draw a little line up here at the top corner going up to the left. And I'm going to mimic the shape. Bring it in, mimic the shape, bring it in. Next, I'm going to be taking some black paint with my small brush. In my sled here, I'm going to be drawing a line that's just an inch shy away from the top edge of my sled or sleigh. Go to the edge, then trace the edge. And fill that in with black. We're going to let that black paint dry a little bit while we work on all the presents that are sitting inside of our sled. The first present is going to be a nice white box. So I'm going to take my small brush in white paint and I'm going to draw a little box that's right up here. Then I'm going to draw a couple of red gift boxes. Some of these boxes, you can make them 3D if you want them to be 3D, or you can keep it simple on yourselves and just keep them to be 2D boxes. This white one's going to stay 2D, but these red ones are going to be 3D. With white paint, I'm going to be drawing a candy cane that's coming up and through the white present. And then I'm going to mix together a darker green with some green and a touch of black. Maybe even a little bit of yellow, make it a little bit more grassy. I'm going to put a small green present down here. Next up, I'm going to be painting in the part of the sleigh that sits on the snow. We're going to be mixing up a very golden-y color. So I'm going to grab a scoop of yellow, small touch of red, small touch of black. I'm going to use very, very light pressure and draw a little mountain here at the bottom of my sleigh. A little mountain. Then it's going to come up into Acrylic. I'm going to have the letter Y over here. And a Y along the back side. And then along the bottom edge, it's going to come up to the front, curve in, and then loop out at the front in the back. I'm going to have a loop come out from the bottom of my snow, curl in. I have another one right over here, right behind it. A line connecting. And one more curlicue right there. So you can see some parts are being hidden in the snow as if the snow is sitting on top of parts of the sled or sleigh. Now I'm going to be adding some highlights to that by adding some white paint to this color. I'm actually going to dot in the highlights. So just little tiny dots. Next up, I'm going to add a little bit more yellow to this lighter gold shade, and we're going to be putting in the top rim of our sled. I want to add a little bit of black to a small portion of this color back here. Maybe even a little touch of red, maybe more of a brown color. And we're going to be adding some of this into the back shadows of our sled. And we're going to take that yellow shade again to trace, outline, give some more definition to those shadow sections. Next, with that light gold color, we're going to add some bells. So I got one bell here, one there, one down here. We're going to connect those with the little loopies. And then we're going to have bells that kind of are like wedding bells. So I'm going to start with a line along the bottom of the bell, and then kind of a long, tall rainbow shape at the top. That's one bell. I have another bell right next to it. I'm sitting behind it. Next, we're going to add some highlights to the golden section here with some white paint. I'm going to add some white kind of here on this lip of my sleigh. Some white in my bells. Next, we're going to be adding some definition to any of your presents that are 3D. So for example, my red presents, I'm going to be making a maroon shade to throw some shadows in, so you know which parts are the front of the present, which parts are the sides. Then I'm going to be adding some red stripes into my candy cane. And I'm also going to be adding some of those green stripes into my candy cane. These are going to be really thin. And I'm also going to be adding some green polka dots to my white present. Next, I'm going to be adding some gold into the ribbon. Add some green into my ribbon. Add some little white snowflakes into my green present. And I'm going to add a white bow on top of my bells. Once we have the white in for the bow, we're going to be coming back to this brown shade that we made to put some definition into these wedding bells that are sitting on our sleigh. So at the bottom of our bell, we're going to do a little line for an opening of the bell. And then we're going to use this brown to separate the two bells so you can tell which one's in front and which one's in the back. I'm going to be adding some bow ties to the tops of some of these presents. And then I'm going to use some white paint to give some highlights to the ribbon. I want to take a little bit of black paint to get some definition into the white bow above my bells. Some openings at the tops of the bows. And then separating parts of the bow, say like this middle circle. Or the actual parts of the bow. And then adding a couple of red stripes in the bow as well. I'm also going to use this red paint to get the little part of the bell that is inside and makes all the noise. Last step, I'm going to be taking a little bit of black paint to some edges of the gifts. Help them to separate from each other. Also adding a little bit of black into the bows to make them a little bit more defined. And a little bit of black, just a little bit, into the little legs of our sleigh. And there we go, we have created a beautiful sleigh with all the presents that Santa Claus shall bring you in the morning. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. We would love to see what you have painted at home. Feel free to post on social media and don't forget to tag us at Muse_paintbar so we can check them out. We'd love to see what you've painted. And if you enjoyed the tutorial and would like to see more from our channel, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time.